mourning is a complicated process. Some are still mourning the death of MF Doom, his brilliant, obscure lyricism, his capital name, his idiosyncratic persona. If you haven't seen Open Mike Eagle's recent video about it, it's very touching, the way that his passing is still felt. I think we're all still mourning, an active mourning of Brownsville Ka, with his own prolific, mysterious, self-produced artistry, his independent New York voice. But as much as I think we need to mourn and recognize, there's that new Mad Villainy outtake stuff that's coming out, and we need to really appreciate those who we've lost. Another way to remember the dead is to celebrate the living, to celebrate those that continued or fought alongside the same revolution as those that we lost. Everything that I just talked about that is found in MF Doom and is found in Ka is also found in this album, Showbiz, by capital M-I-K-E, by Mike. There's many things that he does that they did not do, but there's also many things that they do that he does not. So obviously, they're not the same. He's a young guy, but they all scratch a similar itch. And the thing I want to really emphasize is, as we're sitting here and we're in this whole moment of redefining what the purpose of rap music is and hip hop culture and all that, it's great that we're trying to destroy the bad, but we also really need to lift up the good and allow it to flourish and support it. And you really have to be listening to this album, Showbiz by Mike, if you like obscure lyricism, if you like amazing rhymes, if you like self-produced, mysterious New Yorkers. This is everything that you want. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who posted that I was talking about Mike, and I got this comment that was from somebody, and thank you for whoever commented. They said, "Oh, so you like him now?" And I was like, I thought I always liked Mike. Did I communicate that I don't like Mike? Maybe I did. I'll never forget, I had two friends, and one of them said to the other, Joe, we don't like each other. And Joe's like, I like you. Ooh, so maybe, and it makes sense, because what probably came through in my last review, and I revisited my review of Burning Desire a little bit, is that Mike is one of these people who is way easier to like than he is to analyze, more fun to listen to than he is to describe. So I think I've always liked him, but I will always find it difficult trying to describe his music, trying to define his art. And when I looked at my notes for that last album, so much of what I said then is what I'm going to say now. An album that kind of defies and invites analysis in equal measure. It's a stunning self-produced piece of art, but it's also kind of a vibe, just a vibe. He's a great wordsmith, but it's often not very clear. It's not chorus, verse, chorus. They're what I called songlets, like in between a song and an interlude, usually just one verse. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to add imagery, add connections to ways of thinking about Mike's artistry that help me to better understand what it is that I like and what it is that makes it hard as somebody who's trying to talk about this stuff. Some rappers, when they construct a verse, it's like a perfectly constructed, like sushi roll. If you ever been to a good sushi restaurant, they'll put unexpected ingredients on there and they'll mix it all together, and you'll be like, I didn't think that I wanted dill on that scallop, but I did, right? Whatever it is. I think Mike is more like a really good sandwich, like beef on weck. I live out here in Rochester, New York. There's a view out my window. Okay. It just snows. So out here in Western New York, we have a kind of food called beef on weck, which is like this bread that has caraway seeds on it, and it has roast beef, and then it has like horseradish mayo and horseradish, and when you have like a good bite of that, it all comes together. It's a little bit unexpected, it's a little bit sloppy, it's a little bit blurry, but it's like, goddamn, right now I just want to go and get a beef on weck sandwich, like right now. It's just a great taste. It's a little bit unexpected, it's a little bit of what you do know, and that's kind of what this is like. But I have a whole new image of what this is like, because the thing about Mike is that he's, first of all, SEO demon. How do you search engine optimize for Mike? Even in the beginning of this whole thing, I talked about Open Mike Eagle. When you look up Mike rapper, he might come up first. Doesn't matter. They're both, they are both trail mix enjoying underground rappers. But what I came up with was like he's sort of a spitfire. Most of his songs are just like a verse, and he'll just start, and he'll just go, and it's just rap and rap and rap and rap. But it's very sort of blurry. It's very sort of mumbled. So the metaphor I came up with is, remember that scene from Predator, the only movie starring two American governors, Jesse Ventura and Arnold Schwarzenegger? There's a scene where they're shooting into the woods because the predator is able to be invisible and they think they see him, and they just shoot like all these rounds, especially with a minigun, which is the ironic name for a really big gun, and they're just shooting. And the character played by Bill Duke, R.I.P., did Bill Duke pass? I think he did. A very underrated character actor, and actually lead in some other movies. He's the guy who's constantly shaving, and the whole blood. It's great. So he's like just shooting and just going crazy. So that's what his rapping style reminds me. But watching it on .25, just like these words, just chunk, ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. This, to me, is what it's like listening to a Mike album. What's up with the lighting right now? I look like a weird ghost. I'm sorry. So I sort of imagine this like, I don't know, like I imagine Mike performing in front of this on mute, like in front of a white, like a sheet used as a screen, hung up between two trees in, I don't know, Pelham Park in the Bronx. Like, this is how it feels like listening to his rapping. Just going and going and go. I have to turn off that sound. It's just too annoying. Do you get it? Is that kind of a good metaphor? For those of you who like Mike, for whoever it was that was salty and said that I don't like it, that I don't like Mike, does that make sense? A machine gun in slow motion, just relentlessly shooting? The title of the album is Showbiz. And it's interesting because showbiz is it's like a dirty word, I'm thinking about it like in sort of musical history context, it refers to business, right? The business of show. I think the Kinks have an album called Everyone's in Showbiz, but it reminded me most of is the song Nobody Loves You by John Lennon. So I don't know if this is an influence. I don't know what Mike's influences are. I know he spent a little bit of time in England. Maybe he picked up fandom of John Lennon. But in the song Nobody Loves You When You're Down and Out, he has this lyric. And I think this lyric works really nicely with the Mike album. I've shown you everything, I've got nothing to hide, but you still ask me, do I love you? What it is, all I can tell you is it's all showbiz. Maybe that's a theme there. So, what is he, right? This mix between, I have this in my notes, a mix between Ka and Earl Sweatshirt. I think that's a pretty fair comparison. Maybe like one of the truest inheritors of MF Doom's style and persona, the inscrutable self-produced capital name rapper. But I think the danger, and maybe you're a big Mike fan and you're like, Sky, man, this is not hitting. You're not really getting what makes him great. I realize the problem is it's such a vibe. It's easy to just watch this album and just words and words and words and words and words, jokes and jokes and jokes, right? You can just have that coming through. So what I did is I used a random number generator. 24 songs. I just did a random number generator, and I'm going to zoom way in on one song that I picked literally at random from a random number generator. Okay? And I'm going to take that one song, and that's how I'm going to analyze the entire album. It is a representative piece of pie from this entire pie. Representative piece of cake from this pie. You get my point, okay? So, and I think this will show off his skill. So what I ended up landing on was track 10, The Wait 2K20. Based on what I read, this is like a sample that he's used before in reference to other music. I don't care about that. No, it's not that I don't care about that. I'm not going to get into that. Feel free to tell me in the comments, well, actually, 2K10 was his album, Weight of the World. That's fine. Okay, I'm just taking this as a thing in and of itself. It's perfect because it's exactly like most of the album. A weird, cool sample from like 70s, 80s, or 90s, soft R&B or jazz. That's basically all the albums. DJ Black Power is his alter ego that does the production. Mike Black Power is not a bad name. Or like Mike and DJ Black Power. Mike is so tough on the search engine. So basically every song has this kind of sort of soft sample that's a little bit messed up, a little bit janky, and then basically one verse, like no chorus, no hook, no second verse, no real development, just gush, 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 right? Just, but the thing is, it's exquisite. It's exquisite work. When you actually look at it, it's a very fine piece of work. So what I did was I did the thing that I like to do sometimes, which is actually break down the entire song, the entire verse system. Okay? So it has this jazzy saxophone sample, a very kind of hard bop jazz sample. It doesn't sometimes jazz rap sounds too pompous. This does not feel pompous like that. It's kind of hard to make out some of the sounds, some of the words, but it follows the formula of the music, right? And this one verse. So what I want to do is really break down this verse. I mean, really break it down, okay? As much as I feel comfortable. So what I've done here, okay, is I've tried to break it down so you can see the form of it. Okay, so there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. There's like 25 lines, something like that. I'm not going to count them all out. And what you will see he has done, because he's mumbling the whole time. Not mumbling, but he's not very clear, okay? I think I told the story last time, but my dad used to be mad at me when I was in high school because I didn't pronounce things well. He used to say, Skybar, enunciate. Dad's a dick. So I tried to just really emphasize the fact that even though you might hear the song and it might just be, wait, am I wearing my screwed up, yeah. Are these my screwed up glasses that Toby chewed on? No, I don't look like a fool. It's good. They're a little dirty, that's fine. So, like, secretly, if you're not paying attention, this might just roll over you like gush, 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 gush. But in reality, look at this multisyllabic rhyme run. Now what I did was when the rhyme run went through the entire song, I drew a line through it, okay? So, who it is, pollutin it, okay? That's the basis of this multisyllabic rhyme run. And the who sound goes all the way through. Who, lu, fu, loose, loose, goo, mu, stew, few, do, mu, do, ru, prove, you, abu, okay? It goes all the way through. And the end syllable also does. Hit, it, ness, jin, it, in, with, s, it, exist. So, I'm going to stop doing that. It's so annoying. I'm annoying myself. I can't imagine how annoyed you are. So, you know, I just taught my class last Monday a whole history, like the basis of rhyming in rap music. So what he's doing is one of the more complicated things, which is multisyllabic runs and also mosaic rhymes. The best example of mosaic rhyme is Notorious B.I.G., escargot, one word, my cargo, 3 words, right? So it's a way of connecting one word to multiple, of doing multisyllabic, and it creates different rhythms, right? Because escargot just goes all together, my cargo is independent, so it creates different rhythms. We see here, and then in the middle he has what I'm starting to call the dead syllable. So in a lot of these multisyllabic mosaic rhyme runs, and this is true of Ransom, who I did last month, the middle syllable sometimes is not always rhymed with, okay? So when it comes to that, like, it's sort of a dead syllable, like, it doesn't really matter if who to hit, pollutin it, if to and t doesn't quite work, because it's like almost like a rhythmic punch. So sometimes the middle, the pink there, rhymes, but I wouldn't say it goes all the way through. But just look at the beginning with how unbelievably mosaic it is, okay? Who to hit is 3 words, pollutin it is 2 words, and foolishness is 1 word. So just in the first 3 lines, he is doing this mosaic trick and this whole kind of joke, this kind of technique all the way through. And he just keeps going all the way through. And so I did that yesterday. I was in the baby pit with my 2-year-old and my 6-month-old. And I'm sitting there and I'm doing it, and then I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh no, I'm not done. Because I didn't even notice that this back sound here that precedes this end run is actually rhymed all the way through here. There's some more dead syllables in between that don't necessarily rhyme, like don't or I'm or with my or ha. but that actually rhymes too. So we have going through the entire song an internal rhyme. Internal is in the middle of a phrase, not at the end of a phrase. So we have a consistent internal rhyme going through the entire goddamn verse, all the way through. Backpack, match, gas, angst, ants, pack, ask, packed, at, bad, smack, act, pass. Okay, like that goes through the whole way. A lot of these rhymes are what are called slanted, right? So perfect rhymes are rhymes where the consonant and the vowel sounds are the same, okay? Brakes on the bus and brakes on the car. These are the brakes make you a superstar, right? Like car and star, right? That's the same sound. It's very simplistic. Slanted rhymes are rhymes that don't necessarily rhyme, but the way they're pronounced, you have a vowel sound or a consonant sound that work. Most of these are slant rhymes, which are inherently more interesting because they require more of the verbal skill to communicate them, right? So that's why, like, foolishness and polluting it don't necessarily rhyme if you were to say it in a very matter-of-fact way, but he's able to make them rhyme, right? So, I'm sitting here comparing him to Bill Duke shooting up the woods, shooting up the jungle in Predator. Such an awesome scene. The thing just keeps going. I've never wanted to shoot a gun, but I would love to shoot a minigun just in the woods like that. Okay, but look at the precision that he's actually delivering on this. And then I go even deeper and realize right off the bat, the first couple lines has, I feel like the world was on my back, didn't know who to hit. I keep purling out the back, I'm polluting it. So the world and pearl starts an early rhyme, an early other internal rhyme, but then actually he gets a different internal rhyme going for the rest, almost the rest of it, up until the end. So in the middle here, clearer, mirror, bearer, nearer, parent. Parent doesn't quite work. The air, here, at this year, up here, disappear, up here. So all of these things are happening in this one song, which I picked at random, that I picked at random from this album, and it has this level of art, this level of finery, even though I didn't pick up most of it when I'm listening to it because my ears are old, okay? He's young, my ears are old, and I'm not picking up on all the things that he's saying. I'm not picking up on all the words. I'm not picking up on the art. But I am. That's the thing. Great artists sometimes will make you feel their genius without understanding it, without being able to define it, without being able to say that's, and maybe, like when we say MF Doom is not dead, not only is MF Doom not dead because his music will live forever, but like this kind of stuff that I'm showing you right here, this kind of precision and mixture of obscurity and brilliance, this is very clearly just carrying on that tradition, okay? Mourn the dead, celebrate the living. Check out my burning desire. And that's to say nothing of the fact of what's the content. That's the form of this song, but dear God, what's the content of this? I felt like the world was on my back, didn't know who to hit. Right there, we had this whole concept of anger and frustration when you feel like you're surrounded by too much that you just want to lash out, but you don't know how to lash out. Kept on purling out this pack, I'm polluting it. I don't even really know what that means. Sounds like a drug thing. I can see it clear, every match with my foolishness. I can't see a mirror off this gas or hallucinogens. So a lot of this album is about Man in the Mirror. Apparently it was originally going to be called Man in the Mirror. It's about confronting yourself. This whole album is kind of a muddy mirror where he's looking at himself and he's trying to figure out who he is as an artist, who he is as a man. And it's all right here in these weird lyrics that are kind of put together. I can't be the bearer of this angst. I've been losing it, getting near to the answers I'm Googling. So he's trying to find answers. Who am I? This is a Who Am I song. This is Zoolander, TM. Who am I? Who am I? Who is he? Who is he? Can't figure out who he is. He's looking in the mirror and he can't see who he is. I got a mirror right over there. See? Hello, I'm talking on the mirror. All right? So he's on a mirror and he can't quite see himself super carefully. All right? Ooh, was that a bad sound? Man, now the light's all weird again. I'm all blown out. I'm all Casper style over here. Casper Schmeichel. Getting even nearer to the answers I'm Googling. How I lost a parent and the pack I commuted with. So now he's talking about losing his parent. I assume his mother dying. based on the next line, and the people that he came with, the pack I commuted with. So he's losing touch with his nature, he's losing touch with his people, he's losing touch with what makes him him, he's losing touch with his history and his family. My brothers hate to hear it, I've been asking confusing shit. So now he's like talking about his brothers, and I've got 3 brothers. This is fascinating. This line is just in my head. My brothers hate to hear it, I've been asking confusing shit, because that's what happens. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I'm the brother who raises questions that sometimes annoys my brothers. Okay, I'm sometimes the guy who's like, hey, remember that person who's in our life? What was up with them? Was it technically child abuse that we were watched by that person? You know, I might ask that question. And sometimes my brothers don't want to hear it, and sometimes they do. My bad is that I sometimes push that conversation when they don't want to have it, and that's not good. Just because I'm making good points doesn't mean I have to burden them with that. So that's the thing I've had to learn over time. Sometimes my brothers watch the channels. I love you guys. I'm sorry that our upbringing was tough. Anyways, I make myself cry. Amazed it took this year to feel the fact that I do exist. It took a year I do exist. Do you see what this man is doing? Do you like Mike now? Whoever said that, yes, I like Mike now. This is the most fundamental rap existential question. And he's realizing that it took to hear it, which rhymes with parent and nearer. I've been asked to go ask pack. In fact, fusing shit from stewardess. I do exist. I do exist. He's doubting his own existence. A way that I appear, I be at where the music is. Why does he say I be at? Why does he use that African-American vernacular English, that intentional mispronunciation? Because he's trying to match all these ack sounds. I am not going to sing Billy Joel. Or quote Mars Attacks. Tim Burton's like 2nd or 3rd best movie. Prayers disappear because all the bad shit I'll do again. Delay my appearance because I'm smacked in my room again? Is he saying he's on heroin or on drugs? Yikes, this is rough. Prayers disappear. So he's like lost in this lifestyle. He's lost into something. You know, his mother's in the air. I ask for my stewardess. So I think what he said earlier is that his mother's dead and he's asking for a stewardess, like asking for someone to serve him. Like he's totally lost. I wrote a song when I was like 22 called Hey Stewardess. It was an imaginary song where I was on an airplane that was crashing. And so I started hitting on the stewardess, hoping that we could have sex so that I like would die happy. Weird, man. I forgot about that song. I wasn't planning on talking about that right now. The song was called Hey Stewardess. Horny weirdo I must have been. Sorry, I'm just remembering that song. You know, so like all these images, brother, mother, heir, disappear, appearance. Love to say about that action, prove it then. Love saying, damn, what happened to you and them. Struggle with the shade and the passive abusiveness. Not passive aggression, passive abusiveness. So I'm not going to give you the one reading of this one song. There's so many things to read, but I here is somebody who is at war with himself, who is trying to see himself, but who is having difficulty seeing himself clearly, partly because of his lifestyle, partly because of the difficulty of his upbringing, partly because of loss, partly because of mourning, partly because of the effects that fame, whatever level of fame he has, have put strain on his relationships. He's trying to figure out who he is, and he feels alone. He feels like he has the weight of the world on his back, and he doesn't know who to hit. He doesn't know what to do. So he puts it all in this one song, which I could have easily landed, that random number generator could have landed on 6. It could have landed on 12, okay? But it landed on 10, and that's where I go. Now, just for fun, I'll tell you my quick-ass notes for the rest of the album. Bear Trap, crazy title, weird vocal sample. Sounds like, oh yes. And then the song ends with talking about hunger being the key to breakout success, talks about Big Pun, talks about Notorious B.I.G., talks about how they're hungry, how they have to try to succeed, and through hunger. And I think that's part of this, is like the hunger that you need to have to succeed as an artist is just unbelievable, and it's unfortunate. Either you have to be very hungry and very persistent and lucky, or very lucky. Okay, those are the 2 ways you have success. That goes for YouTube as well. You have to be hungry, persistent, and lucky, or very lucky. Okay, and so he's kind of in that space, and that's the perfect Mike formula. Weird sample, amazing obscure lyrics that are very deep and very well constructed, and then ending it with a weird vocal sample for just someone talking from somewhere. So Bear Trap, these days I only pray for more strength, tying into that theme of that song I just discussed. Clown of the Class, Work Harder. I feel like this is tied in also as well to that song about, you know, you have to be hungry, you have to work harder. That's the nature of showbiz. You just have to keep grinding. I wonder if he means Clown of the Class, like money, you know, Marxist class. I don't know. I love the way he just starts rapping over this organ sample and layers and layers and layers. He's such a good producer. I love it. Then we could be free. If I could change, I'd be free on a slave ship. What does that mean? What does that mean? I'd be free on a slave ship. Do you mean like you'd be the enslaver? Or the slave would be over? Or I don't know. And you know what? I'm going to guess you don't want a white guy pontificating on this particular lyric. I would just say, wow, what a lyric. Watered down. What's even going on here? This vocal sample is just so mumbled and cool. The sample is just wild and unsettling. Don't be a clown or a clone. Man in the Mirror is just a straight cover of the Michael Jackson song. No, it's not. I'm joking. It's more of like a Steely Dan style sample. I don't know what it is. It's kind of happy. Sometimes he has kind of a happier tone on this album. This has a happier tone. Artist of the Century is maybe my favorite song on the album, just from first listen. This cool flute loop is rising up and just a straight verse. And What You Bout to Do, A Star Was Born, chunky restarting line. There's a smaller voice rapper on here, 454, was pretty good. Belly One, I don't know if that's a reference to the movie Belly, which is so bad and everyone agrees is so bad that I'm wondering if it's not good. I don't know. Man, the movie was terrible. But I think I need to rewatch it. Da Rock, these nice little high notes, this cool sample. These worked. The Wait, that's the song I discussed. Last Scribe, vocal clear sample, little bongles, just more Spitfire. This was the song where I came up with the image of Bill Duke with the minigun. Kush, 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 kush. You're the Only One Watching. Cute guitar sample, ends with prayers. Lucky, more like, I love on this, there's like faraway drum machine pops in at a certain point. I love this. This is like, whoa, what is this production? Can I get more of this? You tell me, Mike Superfans. Are there more songs like this? Number 82, more of the happy, lighter sound. Too Hot is an interlude. Talks about lying and echoing this strange feeling. Has the Vincent Price laugh from Thriller. A lot of Michael Jackson on this album. Maybe he was named after Michael Jackson. I don't know. This great sample, I get this strange feeling with you. And then it warbles. Zombie Part 2, maybe my second favorite song on the album, just because it describes what a zombie actually is. In the history of the Haitian religion of voodoo, where people were given drugs and buried to feel as though they were dead, and then they were raised by a hungan, kind of a religious figure who'd be able to control them and basically fool them through drugs into thinking that they were dead. And it was a representation of the fear of going back into slavery because the hungan would control you. Like initially, zombies were post-slavery anxiety folklore. And so he's talking about feeling like a zombie walking around with a soul dead, but a real zombie, not a George A. Romero zombie from Night of the Living Dead from 1968, who runs around in brains and all that stuff, like the actual zombies from Haiti. Burning Home, cool siren sound on here, big run at the end, cool beat change. Talks a lot about being perked out. Maybe that's what he means by being smacked up. I hope not. I hope this guy's not on drugs, man. It sucks. It sucks when great artists are on drugs, you know. Anyways, Showbiz, this great intro, cool faraway saxophone. He's kind of power tripping. I'm a synonym for a go-getter. Spun Out, a cool droney synthesizer, start and stop flow. Asleep When I Left, Asleep When I Got Home, cool sample. Miss You, female singer. When It Rains, this cool kind of piano stop-start drums, diamond dancing, Kubrick sounds, distorted sounds. When I listened to this album for the first time, it auto-played to the song California Dream by Ab-Soul. And I think Ab-Soul and Mike go really well together. I think Mike and Ab-Soul should work together. Ab-Soul quoted my video on Genius, so maybe. Ab-Soul might have sent me a PM saying that he likes my stuff. I might be talking back and forth with Ab-Soul. I think they'd work well together. Anyways, random. So there you go. There's my thoughts. Some people have been thinking that that's my wife laughing in the background. I'm at work. My wife is not at work with me. She's back with the kids. That's probably the chair of my department. Nice lady. Distinctive laugh. Okay. Until next time, did you enjoy this album? Tell me what I need to know about Mike. Smash the like bucket. AVA stands for awesome videos. Always, I will always heart those comments. These are my videos are some of my favorite ones to do. I love the ones that get all the views, but I also love the ones that just really celebrate this art that we're trying to love. There's a camera.